Here's the audience again. Okay. Currently, there is no conclusive evidence that shows that sexual offenders who receive psychological treatment will reduce recidivism. Therefore, they should be given longer prison sentences to protect our society. In 2009, the Uniform Crime Report, distributed by the FBI, reported 88,097 forcible rapes. That's 241 rapes per day, 10 rapes per hour. Keep in mind that these numbers are also only sexual offenses that were reported. There are many sexual offenses that go unreported every day because the victims are generally too scared to speak up. That alone, I believe, speaks volumes. Today I want to talk to you about why I believe sex offenders should remain locked up for as long as possible, as if the previous stat wasn't enough. We'll talk about the stats for sexual offenses in Montgomery County, Tennessee, Megan's Law, and the Adam Walsh Act. I've researched this topic extensively and have completed some criminal justice classes as well. First, let's go over information regarding Megan's Law. Megan's Law is the law that was signed in 2006 by President Bill Clinton to require states to make public, by way of a registry, information on sex offenders. The law is a result of the brutal rape and murder of Megan Conca, who was 7 years old, in the year 1994. Megan was raped and killed by her neighbor, a man who was previously convicted twice of other sexual offenses. Megan's parents were unaware that their neighbor was a sexual predator. Would this horrible crime have happened if Megan's murderer had remained in prison longer? My guess is no. According to meganslaw.net, all states are required to provide a public registry of all convicted sexual offenders. The only drawback to this is that the information that is regarding the offenders that's made public is up to the state's discretion. States are highly encouraged to provide as much information as possible. While looking at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation website and the Division of Criminal Justice website for New York State, which is my home state, I was surprised at the major differences in the amount of information provided. As citizens, I believe we are entitled to as much information regarding these predators as possible. In July of 2006, the Adam Walsh Act, signed by President Bush, set forth new and updated laws concerning sex offenders. This act established many laws and requirements. One law is the Drew Sojan National Sex Offender Public Website. This website is to be maintained by the Attorney General, which should help avoid state discrepancies. Drew Sojan was sexually assaulted and murdered in 2003. Drew's murderer, of course, was a previously convicted sexual predator. The Adam Walsh Act also gives federal officials the authority to hold inmates indefinitely if the inmate is considered sexually dangerous after their prison terms are complete. There seems to be a great deal of debate regarding the enforcement of this action. Citizens are arguing that this violates the civil rights of the offenders. My question is, why should these predators have any rights after the heinous acts that they've engaged in? Seems like the only logical way to keep these predators off the streets is to keep them locked up. Also, it appears to be the only good way to reduce these horrifying numbers of sex crimes that are reported yearly. Now let's talk about the stats of sexual crimes in Montgomery County, Tennessee. This information was obtained from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation website. In 2009, there were 1,407 arrests made for sex crimes in Montgomery County. While researching the sex offender locator map, I was able to pull up 39 offenders within 5 miles of the zip code 37040. 21 of these 39 were classified as violent offenders. Under the Code of Criminal Procedure, Title 40, Chapter 39 for the state of Tennessee, Tennessee classifies a violent offender as follows: repeat sexual offenders who use physical violence, sexual offenders who prey on children are violent sexual offenders who pose an extreme threat to public safety. Sexual offenders pose a high risk of engaging in further offenses after incarceration or commitment, and protection of the public from these offenders is of paramount public interest. In conclusion, even the state of Tennessee asserts that sexual offenders pose a high risk of recidivism after their release from jail. So why don't we stop letting them go? We've talked about Megan's Law, the Adam Walsh Act, and the staggering statistics in Montgomery County. I hope this speech leaves you informed. You need to be aware. You need to check your local offender registry. As citizens, we need to be informed, and we need to take a stand and keep these predators off our streets. Do you know who lives around the corner? The audience.
We did good.